Welcome back, my friends, to the DerateToHate.com podcast. I am Wilk from WilksWorld.com, and this is episode 11 of the Derate the Hate podcast. And today, I don't think we can avoid it much longer. Today we're going to have to talk about, this is going to have something to do with what's going on in the world lately. And I don't mean necessarily the epidemic, meaning the COVID-19 epidemic, but I am talking about all the civil unrest that we've been dealing with in the United States, all the craziness that's been taking place. What would a podcast about bettering the world and taking the hate down a notch be without, talking about what we've been dealing with here in the United States? And, I'm not going to get into a lot of specifics about a lot of things, but I am going to tell you what I feel about, or more specifically, what I think about what is happening here, and maybe we can try to, or maybe when you listen to this, maybe something I say will help you meet some common ground with somebody, with somebody whom you disagree. And that's really what this podcast is about. This podcast is about bettering the world one attitude at a time, and the only way that I know how to do that is to get people to engage in a civil conversation about matters that should be discussed civilly. And what we're seeing in this country right now, most of it is not civil. And when I say what we see in this country, I do mean all the garbage that we see on the news. And the news highlights all the bad, and very seldom do we see the good, which is also why I highlight at the end of each episode, I highlight something good that's done by somebody that, that you may not expect it from, or some story that you may not see on national news when we actually do need to see more of that. So what am I talking about when I say we're going to discuss this matter right now? Virtue signaling, privilege, and the cancel culture. I think that's what we're going to call this one. Virtue signaling, virtue signaling, privilege, and cancel culture. Where am I going with this? First of all, I'm going to say virtue signaling. What is virtue signaling? What does that mean? It's something that a lot of people may not have even heard of, but virtue signaling is basically when somebody outwardly expresses some type of, some action, some opinion, something that they do outwardly to gain attention or bring attention and try to show people how good of a person they are. They say, look at me, look what I'm doing to try and prove to everybody else how good a person I am. That's virtue signaling. And then a lot of what we're hearing today from different movements and different people, and I'm not going to name any of them, is the concept of privilege. Who's privileged, who's not privileged, who's a victim and who's not a victim. I've talked about in previous episodes. I've talked about the perpetually offended mentality and the perpetual victim mentality, and how toxic that is. Well, a lot of that comes from believing that people are privileged, and quite honestly, believing somebody else is privileged and blaming your misgivings or the things that have happened badly in your life on somebody else's, so-called privilege. That is not. It's not helpful. It's not good for you. It's not good for them. It's not good for anybody. And then the whole thing that you've probably heard about in some type of, whether it be social media setting or mainstream media setting, is the cancel culture. And I'm just here to tell you that this whole idea of cancel culture, wiping out everything with which we disagree, whether it be a person, a piece of history, a product, whatever the case may be, trying to wipe out and erase from all public domains anything with which you disagree is incredibly unhealthy and incredibly toxic. It's something that cannot stand, because if it does, things will only get worse. And it may not be something that you disagree with today, but I can promise you, if it continues on the way that it's going, someday it will be, and it will be something that maybe means something to you that you never understood, or maybe something nobody else understood, but maybe it means something to you, and now that's being canceled. It's being taken away as part of the cancel culture, and that's not healthy. So with that, let's start off and talk a little bit about a couple recent examples of virtue signaling. You have, well, let's just start off with one of my favorites. I've talked a number of times in this podcast about Chick-fil-A and how much I appreciate and just absolutely adore the Chick-fil-A model and how they treat people, how they treat their customers. Well, lately, the CEO or owner, I'm not sure which, and it doesn't matter, of Chick-fil-A came out on, I don't know, national television. I don't even know what show. Still, again, doesn't matter. But came out, and because of everything that's going on with the unrest that we've been dealing with lately, decided he was going to get down and wash somebody's feet or shine the shoes of some black gentleman. And okay, whatever, if that's what you want to do, so be it, do it. But that's not something you just need to go out and publicize. I mean, why would you publicize that? If that's what you feel you need to do, hey, great. But to me, that's just virtue signaling. That's like, hey, look at me, look what I'm doing now to try and make up for some of the bad press that you've got, whatever. Or two of the dumbest things that I've seen in my entire life is Aunt Jemima syrup and Uncle Ben's rice have recently come out and decided that they were going to change their logo or change something about their packaging, whatever. Nobody in their right mind throughout my entire life has ever looked at, that I'm aware of, has ever looked at the packaging on an Uncle Ben's box of rice or an Aunt Jemima bottle of cereal, or syrup rather, and thought, boy, them slaves sure could make some great food. No, that's not what anybody thought, and nobody in their right mind did. But now these companies, and if they want to do it, so be it. Whatever. I whatever. If that's what you want to do, so do it. But the idea that they're doing it now amongst all these things and think that that's somehow going to signal to the world that they are woke and in tune with the times. To me is insane. I mean, quite honestly, nobody, my whole life we've had Aunt Jemima syrup and Uncle Ben's rice, and I don't get it. I don't get what you guys are looking at, and if you think that that's somehow going to make the world better and somehow defeat some misperception of racism or whatever, okay, that's fine. But that's virtue signaling. That's doing something that is an outward action to somehow try and make people believe that you are doing something good in the world, when the reality of it is it's okay. It really doesn't move the needle. It's really more of a symbolic gesture of doing something just that makes no sense in the grand scheme of things. But whatever. Okay, I guess when I was a child, I had a friend that had a black mother and a white father, and I tell you what, his mother made the most unbelievable pancakes I've ever had in my entire life. I still remember it to this day, 30-some, 40-some years later, whatever the case may be. And I never in my life associated, good food with slavery. And to me, whatever. It doesn't make sense, but whatever. You guys do you, whatever. If that's what you want to do, whatever. So be it. It's your deal. Okay? So then we've got the idea of privilege. Okay? Privilege is a concept of which I, more than anything, don't understand, because I've been told on a number of occasions recently, whether it be in social media or in the grand scope of certain people's actions, that because I'm white, I'm some type of privileged. Well, I'm here to tell you, I grew up very poor. I did grow up poor. The only privilege I know that I had in my lifetime was not because of my skin color. It had nothing to do with my skin color. The only privilege I had, and it's a big privilege, but it was the fact that I had a mother and a father that were married and had me and had my sisters and raised us, and my folks were together until the day my father died. And together, they're still together in soul, but when we look at the concept of a big thing I hear lately is white privilege, and all white people must be racist because of their skin color. To me, that concept is so unbelievably foreign that I can't stomach it. Quite honestly, I think it's a racist opinion. But, I don't let that make me feel like a victim. I don't let the fact that I was raised poor make me feel like a victim. I was born in a northwest Iowa town. I grew up by very, very simple means, but by parents that very much loved me, and they stayed together through thick and thin, hard times, good times, the most meager of times. That's my privilege. The fact that I was born into a married household and was raised by a mother and a father who very much loved me, very much loved my sisters, and very much instilled good values in me. That's my privilege. But the whole concept of white privilege and the fact that I'm somehow entitled to something, or I was given something that other people were not because of my skin color, no, I'm not buying it. I will never bow down to the idea that privilege is something that's associated with skin color, and quite honestly, I'm going to do a video about that for YouTube on my wilksopinion.com channel, but I'm not going to get too much more into it than that. But just understand that the whole concept of being privileged is because of your skin color is every bit as racist as the idea that you're disprivileged or your misgivings are because of your skin color. So I'm going to leave that at that. And then the whole concept of cancel culture. I'm taking a bit of a risk just putting this podcast out there. And there are so many people out there that are keeping their opinions to themselves because they are so worried right now, because lives are being destroyed. Livelihoods are being taken away. Businesses are being shut down. Everything that people have ever had is being destroyed in some fashions because they disagree with the ideas of the day. They disagree with, we have a lot of movements going on right now, and if you express an opinion that is contrary to these certain movements, you can have your business boycotted. You can have your business destroyed. You can have your business burned to the ground, and we're seeing it all over the country, and that is the ultimate in toxicity. There's a lot of people out there right now who are so vehemently against anything with which they disagree that they are willing to destroy and go to great lengths to destroy anybody with whom they disagree. And that is a horrible, horrible thing. It stands in complete contrast to everything that the United States is about. We have to be a free market of ideas. We have to be able to exchange ideas in a free and constructive way if we are ever to grow. And right now, if you haven't noticed, there is a lot of people out there who do not have any tolerance for anything with which they disagree, and they are willing to go to the most violent and disgusting extremes to destroy, not just to disagree, but to destroy things with which they disagree and the people with which they disagree, and it is hurting a lot of people. So that is a very small and a very condensed version of what I wanted to say right now, and I do, in an effort to keep these short and civil, try to keep these around the 15-minute mark. So I'm going to go a little bit over that right now, but I do want to just say virtue signaling, if that's what you want to do, if that's what your business is about, if that's what you are as a person, and you feel you need to do it, okay, go for it. You do you. Be you. Just be true to yourself and do it. But understand that everybody isn't going to agree with what you're doing. Everybody does not have to agree with what you're doing. And if they don't agree, just agree to disagree. But be civil. Be civil to one another. like I do at the end of every show, I like to say, be kind. We've got to be kind to one another, and being kind starts with being kind to people who we may not agree with, or we may, we don't have to associate with people, but we surely must be kind to each other. So, with that, I'm going to jump right into our good or feel good story of the week. I recently read an article this week about a young family that was in Panama City Beach, Florida. They were on vacation and they were walking out to a sandbar, and one of the youngsters got caught in a riptide. And anybody who's spent any time near the ocean or in the ocean knows how unbelievably scary that can be. And the young daughter got caught in the riptide, and she kept on going under, and the mother and the father, they could not get to her, and the lifeguards could not get to the youngster in time, but some good Samaritan, some good deed, beautiful human being, jumped into action, was able to save the young girl, and never stuck around for acknowledgement, never stuck around for the cameras. They didn't leave an address so they could get a thank you card. They just did it, and they risked their life. They went out there, they did what they needed to do, risked their life to save a youngster, and then walked away. And that's a beautiful thing. Everybody nowadays or not everybody, but there's so many people out there nowadays that are looking for their 15 minutes of fame, and they want to get on camera, and they want to, jump into a fish tank at a Bass Pro Shop for for some TikTok video, something stupid like that, just so they can get their 15 seconds or 15 minutes of fame. But there's some people out there who do nothing but jump into action when action's needed. They do a beautiful thing. They save a life, and they just go on about their life. And I got to tell you, those kind of the people, those are angels. Those are angels in disguise. They walk among us, and they're beautiful people. So, anyways, whoever you are, I don't know who you are. The family doesn't know who you are, but you know who you are. And I hope someday you hear this, because I have to tell you, thank you from the bottom of my heart for saving that young girl, and keep on doing what you do, because you're awesome. So, with that, I'm going to wrap up this episode. Just understand that there's a lot of people out there that are hurting right now. There are a lot of people out there hurting for a lot of different reasons. And hurt people. And we have to do our part to make sure we are the best people that we can be. So when you get a chance to get back out there, be kind to one another. Be grateful for everything that you've got. And remember, it's up to you to make each and every day the day that you want it to be. So, all of us here at Wilkes World just want to say thank you very much, and we'll catch you